Thank you all so much for tuning into Town and Country. I am your host, Alicia Lewis, and I'm so excited to be here yet again for another episode of TNC. It is Monday, so you know I need a little pick-me-up, so let's have some coffee and conversations. I am now joined by Pastor Lawrence Knighton of the church that you preach, and I wanted to have you on to talk about the books that you wrote. So thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I am excited to be here to share with you today.
I'm excited too. So you have your first book. You don't have it here, but we have it on the screen. So tell us the title of that book.
That book is actually titled "He's Not Your Man, It's Just Your Turn."
That's right.
Yes, and it was actually just a book that I was led to write as a result of women always asking, why can't men be committed?
Wow.
And I was basically sharing in the book that men have such a hunting spirit and that they need to understand that when a man approaches you, he already knows what category he's going to put you in. So I decided to write the book to sort of help women to navigate relationships.
Awesome. All right. And so how long have you, I guess, been an advocate for, relationships?
So interesting. I was 17 years old and I came home one day and I told my parents, I said, I'm going to write a book one day titled "If It's Love, It Will Last." Mm-hmm. Didn't know when, how, and it was only after going through divorce that I was able to write that book. And so It was like from that point on, I've always wanted to talk about relationships because I had been through a situation that was sort of different and caused me to want to write and try to help people with relationships.
Gotcha. So you actually have 3 books.
3 books.
Right? So it's He's Not Your Man, It's Your Turn.
Right.
And then this one is Love.
If It's Love, It Will
Love,
Last.
It Will Last. And then this one is the Born for Greatness.
Yes.
You were born to stand out and not fit in. Wow, 3 books.
3 books.
So you have a passion for writing.
I love it. I actually love writing. I really want to get away for about a week and just put out about 3 or 4 more books.
Awesome.
Because usually if I get in that zone, I can write 2 or 3 books in a week.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
Awesome. So I want to touch a little bit on you and your wife's relationship platform, the Red Flag Coaches. So tell us, what can we learn from that platform?
Actually, the Red Flag Coach platform is really about helping couples navigate relationships. That's really the gist of it, to avoid red flags. Because most times we both learn that when you avoid red flags, that's generally what comes back to haunt you. And so we don't understand that when you overlook a person calling you out of your name, or when you overlook a person cheating the first time, whatever it might be, those generally are going to be the things that come back to haunt you. And so if you overlook red flags, it's kind of like running a red light, running a stop sign. It's going to cost you eventually.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. And so what do you want your readers to gain from reading your books?
Well, after reading the books, I really want all of the readers to really have a better understanding of, number one, helping them to understand that if you're not healthy first, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to have a healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. And I also want them to be able to walk away knowing that there are good people out there. You just have to know how to decipher, sort of sift through, I guess you should say, what is meant for you. Because most times people settle for less than what they deserve.
That's true.
And when you settle, it comes back to haunt you.
I definitely agree. And I think a lot of times it's hard for us. Well, I guess I should say in our generation, it's hard to date out here, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of people are influenced by social media, like what we see on social media,
sure.
Rappers, or, just as this certain lifestyle. So what do you say to those people who have a hard time dating?
And I definitely agree. It's not just difficult for your generation. It's difficult for 40s and 50s and 60s. True. So it's not just your generation. And the thing about it is, if I have to just be honest, most times women set the bar a little low for men. And so what ends up happening, when I say set the bar low, they don't stick to the real substance that needs to take place in a relationship. So for instance, a lot of men with communication, they have a problem communicating, so women will go along with the person who doesn't know how to communicate well. Mm-hmm. And what it ends up doing is it allows a man to feel as if he can just continue to go through life dealing with low-hanging fruit, if I can put it like that, versus someone who has a higher level of standard and some things that they really want to accomplish. It makes it difficult for them to stick with a woman who has her stuff together.
Gotcha. So so a lot of times, this is just from experience, men say your standards are too high. Is that a thing?
No, and that's what I was just alluding to. They'll say your standards are too high is because they've been dealing with people who have not had standards.
Yeah.
Or they'll let a lot of things go that normally would not go. So that's one of the things that you'll hear all the time. Hey, your standards are too high. No, it's just that you've just been dealing with low-hanging fruit.
Gotcha. See, there you go. We love you.
It's just true, though.
Thank you for your wisdom and just helping us guide us through, life and just in love and in general. So you and your wife have been married for 22 years.
22 years.
That's awesome.
And most people don't believe this. And in 22 years, we have never argued.
What?
We disagree, but we never argued.
Wow.
Because you have to take the word argue out of your relationship.
Yeah.
Simply because when you think about arguing, right? Lawyers argue their case.
Yeah.
And somebody has to lose, right? In a relationship, when you argue, somebody's got to lose because someone wants to have the last word. So we take the word argue out, we'll disagree, but we're not going to argue. We never we never went 5 minutes without not talking to each other. We never left the house, all that type of stuff. And you have to mature to that level, though.
For 22 years.
22 years.
That's a long
and dated
time.
2 years before that. Never argued to this day. Most people don't believe that. So
Wow.
it's just it's just what you have to have. This is what we tell people. You got to make sure you talk about your wants, your needs, your expectations, and your non-negotiables.
Got it.
And if you're always talking about that, no one can say I didn't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't say you didn't know because we talked
Setting
about this.
Standard. Yeah. All right, so where can we go to find your books and purchase your books?
Actually, our website is theredflagcoach.com. And you can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, all those different various platforms. But the books are on there, and I promise you these books will bless your life.
I'm excited to read it.
Yeah,
I'm super excited.
Books are definitely worth reading.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you for coming.
I appreciate being here.
It's a pleasure speaking with you today.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Of course.